what is the most impactful thing that could happen to Brazil over the next 5 years that's going to change the trajectory of the country?
Equatorial Margin.
And what do we need to do in the Equatorial Margin?
Our company, TGS, is working there for more than 10 years. It's a long journey that we started in 2014. And I think that our contribution is in multiple ways, because we are bringing high quality data that give the chance for the country to evaluate the potential. We are also providing a lot of good stuff in the environmental studies that give to the analysts, to the people from IBAMA to decide if it's good or not to go, giving a more scientific approach into this question, not so only politician approach.
So let me ask you this, because I'm a sports guy, I'm a data guy, and the reality is we first started working the Equatorial Margin in the late 90s, early 2000s with the initial 2D grid that was acquired up there.
Yes.
And since that point in time, in the early 2000s, we had a number of wells that were drilled. So we've got this whole host of information that has been acquired and it's been done there. Why is it that it's such a challenge from a permitting point of view when all this sort of work efforts been done 10, 20 years ago? Well, what's created that challenge, and how do we overcome that?
Yeah, David, I think this is a fantastic question, because and also very complex, because all this knowledge is not well organized. We don't have the necessary investment. The government never made the necessary investment to put everything together. There is some group of people in Brazil that think that it would be necessary to convert IBAMA in an agency with a budget to invest. It put all this information in a database available for the society, available for the academy to analyze and go ahead. What we are seeing today, we are generating information, a lot of information, a lot of investments of this, but the information is dispersed. It's not only in a single place where it's useful for the society to take a decision.
And I guess, Monica, from your perspective, because you really got introduced to Brazil within the past 7, 8 years in terms of really getting to kind of bring your knowledge in. So you have the benefit of coming from the outside and seeing how the rest of the world worked there. What are your observations as you come into that marketplace, particularly in Equatorial Margin? What are some low-hanging fruits, and what can TGS do to help bring that along?
We have a fantastic team in Brazil helping us do that. And I think we're doing the right thing. We are collaborating with the government. We are trying to bring our technology. We're bringing our experience. And we're doing good practices. And I think that's also part of what has to improve in Brazil and in other areas, is bringing practices that allow companies to do business in the long run. So this is not a company, TGS is not just a company of energy data. We just collaborate with local governments and try to make things happen in a win-win situation. We want the industry to be good and to grow. And along with that, we want to partner with our clients and do that.
And I think that brings up a good point. So when I first started my career in the geophysical business, I worked in the onshore space, and we would have to go and work with landowners, local communities, in terms of being able to get access to bring our equipment there. And in the onshore space, it's very visible. You see when you're laying a seismic line or you're moving equipment. How is TGS and how do you think we do in terms of really engaging local stakeholders in the Equatorial Margin who are going to be most impacted, particularly in a positive success case from an exploration standpoint?
TGS, I think without a fear to be not right, we are investing in the biggest monitoring project around the world. We are monitoring the beaches in the Equatorial Margin from the Amapá state, from the frontier with the French Guiana until Ceará state. It's more than 3,000 kilometers of extension of monitoring. Every single day, we have people, locals, we have partners that are traditional working with the communities. And to put all of this together, we develop a website where it is becoming a tool for the communication between these institutions and the local society, like fisheries, the universities. I think this is the right approach that we are doing. We create a new approach, a new way to make business and to communicate with.
So we're effectively, it sounds like, opening up the communication lines in one of the most remote areas on the planet.
Yeah, exactly. And this is very important what you said, because it's a very remote area. For example, to go to one of these communities, you can spend 2 days traveling. There's no roads, there's no airplanes to go there. Then it's a very poor communities, and we are giving them the chance to be integrated to the rest of the country. This is very important for the Brazilian integration too.
And Monica, I guess, you're based in Houston. It's I like to think the hub of the oil and gas industry. And there's a couple different hubs around the world, but Houston certainly has a certain gravitas in that sense. Why does the international community care about the Equatorial Margin?
That's a very good question. Everybody's looking for the new area. We need success, and in Equatorial Margin is really close to Guyana, and the success in that margin is fantastic. And everybody's looking to go and explore and find the new Guyana. That's how everybody's comparing the Equatorial Margin. The good news is that we are trying to do that. We're trying to collaborate with the government and the communities to open that margin and to bring success not only for the government in general, but for the local groups and the local communities. And I can say with no doubt that every company that has their bases here and every other place in the world are looking very close for that area. So we are happy to be in this position of helping the government to improve the conditions in a way so that we can finally get it open, get all the permits ready for exploration and production to commence as soon as possible.
Last year I was invited for a public audience in Oiapoque. Oiapoque is a city that is hard to arrive, to go there. It's very far from the main city, Macapá. I was there, and I saw how these communities, they want to get exploration because they understand they for example, they don't have electricity, they don't have clear water, despite to have the place in the world where you have the most preservation. 70% of the state is preserved, the original rainforest. But they live there in a poverty. This is not a good message for the world. We are seeing a community that preserves, that is completely integrated to the nature, but they don't have any resource, and they want to have it. I was there, and they are looking to us, the people that came talking about the exploration, the Equatorial Margin. They were very positive and asking us, when will you start? And say, as soon as we can be able to do this, but we are ready to go.
And I think that brings up an interesting concept that we talk about the local stakeholders there in the state of Amapá, the state of Pará-Maranhão, that they want to see the investment, and they want to see the potential it can bring. We've got COP30 coming up later this year in Belém. How do you see the message? Are the local communities going to be able to have a voice there to really ensure that that's raised up in the profile, or is it going to be where it's the international community trying to cast their view on what is the right thing to do for a given individual state?
I see this happen a lot. International, and also not only international, but people that live in big cities like Rio and Sao Paulo, professors that teach on universities like that, they are the ones that don't want to go for the exploration. They are sponsors this idea that we need to choose from one thing to another. It is not the real thinking, how these communities, they think about. I think it will be very interesting, the discussions during the COP. I hope that they give voice to these communities, because I saw there. I was there in a small city where the people that are native, that they were hungry about the exploration, hungry about the technology. They want to be part of the 21st century. They don't want to still in the 15th century, right?
Exactly. Monica, on that front, what is TGS? Is there a plan of engagement for COP? How are we going to represent ourselves at this event?
Well, I don't know that we can actually announce that, but we have maybe a good surprise to announce during COP30. So stay tuned, because TGS is going to give you a surprise.
Yes, absolutely, Monica. We will work hard, and it will be a nice surprise, not only for Brazil, I think for the world. I think
Yes.
It's ambitious, but we are working. Thank you for the support you give to us there. We will have a fantastic landmark to announce.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So now back to you. Do you think that we have enough data in the Equatorial Margin? What else should we be doing in the Equatorial Margin?
Well,
Get ready.
you can never have enough data.
Good answer. What else?
We can always add more clarity and understanding to whatever the subsurface risk is. I mean, one of the big things, if I think about Equatorial Margin, how even just trying to permit one exploration well, and how much impact it is. And so that shows you how important it is, and how critically important to to de-risk as much as you possibly can as a explorationist before you get there. Data is what's required to do that. And that's kind of the role that we play in this ecosystem. I think we lay the groundwork for how to work in a given area, what's going to be needed and necessary. And with that framework we lay down there in terms of establishing a lot of those local partnerships, which you guys do a great job of doing, I think that allows then the next step in the value chain to occur. And I think what we want to see is success in that case, because then we can sit back some years from now and look back and say, hey, you know what, we did our part to do it in a sustainable and practical way.